Hey United Country fans, this is Abbee Pond with United Country Lifestyle Properties of Maine, and I am at 286 Abbee Pond Road in Brownville. I've done a video on this property before, but we've done some price improvements since it was first listed, so I thought it would be worth a second look. I just wanted to show you that this is a surveyed piece. There is a survey on the property. Here is one of the stakes right here. So it is marked. It's kind of an older survey, but you can find the stakes, to show where the boundaries are. This really is a great piece of land, and I'm glad to show it to you again because I think this piece of land is awesome. It is 175 acres total. You actually own 155 acres because 20 acres of it is Abbee Pond. And because of the Great Ponds Act in Maine, no person can own a pond 20 acres or more. But basically what you're going to own is all the land around the pond. So you've already kind of got your driveway in here. And this is honestly going to take you to where I think is the best building spot on the property. The boundary starts not too far up here. You're going to come down this driveway, a couple hundred feet. And right now they've got a small shed that they keep like canoes, kayaks and stuff in. But honestly, I feel like this would be the best building spot. This property is in tree growth, which, gives you a tax break. Or if you're not familiar with it, it just, you put your property in tree growth and it lowers the amount of taxes on the property. There are 2 acres taken out on this one already to build on, so you don't have to worry about that part. The yearly taxes on this property are $805. Here we are. It's kind of a high spot on the property. So the elevation only changes about 50 or 60 feet from the water, as you come up. And then we've got this little 12 by 12 shed here that they've just been using for storage. They just put canoes and kayaks and stuff in it. But this, honestly, I think this spot here, where it's the higher elevation, would be the good spot to build on. A lot of the trees here are kind of smaller tree growth because at some point, because of the tree growth program, you have to have a forest management plan. And obviously at some point the forester told them you need to thin out some of these trees, but there are still plenty of larger trees. What I mentioned in my earlier video, or the video that I did for this before, was that you could, cut the bigger trees, mill them down, and, build your camp with them, which is something that my husband and I have been doing. We did that on a waterfront lot that we have. He cut the trees, had them milled down, and the camp is going to be built out of that. And that is something that you could do here. Here is Abbee Pond. Like I mentioned before, this is a 20-acre pond. It only gets to about 7 feet deep, somewhere in the middle. So it's a fairly shallow pond, but you could definitely put in kayaks and canoes. You're not going to get a whole lot for fish in here. It's probably sunfish or, chub or whatever. It's not much of a fishing spot, but it's beautiful, really. And like I said, you can, put a paddle boat in or a canoe or a kayak, and it's really, really peaceful out here. As you get here closer to the water, you can see that there's a lot of bigger trees down here. Of course, you gotta be careful with that because this is still shoreland zoning. But you can take 30% of the trees as you get within that, probably I think it's 75 feet setback. You can take 30% of the trees. The soils on this are Peru Colonial, which is a stony soil. It's really best for pasture and forest. And as you can see, the forest is growing really well in here. And I realize that it's a lot of smaller tree growth, but if this were to just be left alone and just, weeded out a little bit here and there, you'd have, it's very dense. It's a very dense forest. Brownville, Maine is a really small town. There's only a few hundred full-time residents, year-round residents. You're about 15 minutes from Milo. Milo's a little bit bigger. There's a grocery store, some restaurants, gas stations. There's a school system in Milo. Then you are 45 minutes to Bangor, which would be the next big city where you can find your big box stores, your Lowe's, your Home Depot, all kinds of restaurants. And then we are about 3 hours from Portland. And then you are about 5 hours from Boston. The improved price on this is $260,000. As I mentioned before, the yearly taxes are $805. So just to recap, this is 175 acres total. You will actually own 155 because you cannot technically own the pond. There's a few year-round people on the Abbee Pond Road. For the most part, the people that have come out here are seasonal, but there are a couple that are full-time, year-round, and one of them actually lives just up the road here. So they will at least plow to their home, and then, you know, if you wanted to try to make this a year-round place, you would just need to, you know, come a little bit further in with the plowing. This is off-grid. The power is about 1.5 miles down the road, so more than likely this is always going to be off-grid. Obviously, there's no well or septic here yet because it is pretty much raw land. I would say your best bet out here would be to clear a spot and do solar. I suppose some people like to do like a Generac, like a whole home generator, but I think that this place would be best served with solar. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of our videos, please hit like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for joining me today here out at 286 Abbee Pond Road. If you'd like some more information on this property, please give me a call at 207-794-6164.